But we want to thank Susan for introducing us to Dragonfly. I wasn't aware of you guys, but now I'm so glad I am. And that's why networking is always good. It's always a good thing to talk to everybody. But I would like to tell you one little thing about the Edison Art Society, and that's we are over 25 years old, and we at present have an art exhibit in the Edison Town Hall, which is a magnificent exhibit, and it was done by a young lady who lives in Avenel, and she is self-taught. It's an incredible exhibit. And when I get the link for the exhibit, I'd be happy to pass it on, and maybe Catherine, you can share it with everyone, and you could get a good look at what the Edison Art Society is all about.
Absolutely. We would love to do that, and we'd love to go see the exhibit.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Anna, you want to take it away?
Yes, without further ado, I would like to introduce myself. I'm Anna Paone. I'm the Artistic Associate of Dragonfly Multicultural Arts Center based out of Metuchen in Plainfield, New Jersey. And we're thrilled to bring you this encore performance of Little Women, the radio show, brought to you by the Edison Art Society. This performance is sponsored by the Edison Art Society. The Edison Art Society sees the arts as a way of enhancing the quality of life for residents of Edison through visual arts, music, dance, and theater performances, film events, and literature. And we're thrilled to be here with them. I'll introduce all of our actors. We have Catherine Lamoureux, our artistic director, who's playing Aunt March and doing sound effects. We have Tom Boyer, who's playing the announcer and Mr. Brooke. Shawnee Ramai, who's playing Joe. Susan Roberts, who's playing Hannah and the other servants. Laura Paone, who's playing Amy. Monica Shaw, who's playing Marmee. Nick Endo, who's playing Professor Bear. Nathaniel Tome, who's playing Laurie. Craig Mayer, who's playing Mr. Lawrence. And Justine D'Souza, who's playing Beth. And without further ado, I would like to throw it to Tom Boyer as our announcer. Before I do that, I will advise you, since we're all watching on Zoom today, as opposed to Facebook, you may wish to switch to speaker view, which is in the upper right-hand corner of your screen, and that ensures that whoever is speaking is highlighted. And without further ado, Mr. Tom Boyer.
Lux presents Hollywood. Greetings from Hollywood, ladies and gentlemen. Little Women is the story of the March sisters and their romances. Four girls whose loves and ambitions are completely different, but who are bound together by happy family ties. A story beloved by 3 generations of Americans. You know, every day we receive letters from modern Little Women telling us that Lux toilet soap is the complexion care in their homes. Mothers set the example and daughters follow. A good rule where Lux complexions are concerned. The curtain rises on the home of our Little Women.
We were 4 sisters, Amy, Jo, Beth, and I. I shall start our story during that winter of 1864 when Papa was still away at war. What a miserable Christmas, we all thought. How happy a Christmas it really was.
Well, at least we have a Christmas tree, Amy. And I think it's beautiful.
Christmas won't be Christmas, Beth, not without presents.
Oh, it's dreadful to be poor. I especially feel it because I'm the eldest and I can remember when we used to be rich.
We're better off than a lot of people, Meg. Orphans, for instance. We have Father and Marmee, and each other.
But we haven't got Father, Beth, and probably won't have him for a long time.
But Joe, the men in the army are having such a terrible winter. Marmee's right. We have to make sacrifices.
Only I'm tired of making these same dresses over year after year.
Well, I don't think any of you suffer as I do. You don't have to go to school with impertinent girls who label your father just because he's poor.
Oh, Amy, if you mean libel, then say so. And stop talking about labels as if Papa was a pickle bottle.
Well, you needn't be so satirical about it, Joe. It's proper to use good words to improve one's vocabulary.
Vocabulary, Christopher Columbus.
Joe, don't use slang words.
Oh, I just detest rude, unladylike young ladies.
And I hate affected snips.
Birds in their little nests agree.
Oh, I'll never get over my disappointment at not being a boy. Look at me, dying, simply dying, to go and fight at father's side. And here I am, knitting, sitting and knitting, like a poky old woman.
Poor Joe.
Well, thank you, Miss Beth, but I don't need any pity because someday I'll be a famous writer and make my fortune. Oh, not that I'll forget about my sisters. You'll all ride around in fine carriages. And you, my Beth, you will have a new piano. And you, Meg, you'll have 10 dozen dresses and satin slippers and red-headed boys to dance with.
I shall like that. I thank you.
So there's no use fretting now. I'll get famous just as soon as I can. Meanwhile, let's rehearse the play.
It's time for tea. Come, girls, help me with the tray.
Don't we ever have coffee anymore, Hannah?
Coffee is scarce and dear. It seems to me you'd be... Oh,
What is it, Hannah?
someone's looking in this room.
What?
Keep away from the window.
But Hannah, who is it?
That Lawrence boy.
Where? Where is he?
Next door in the Lawrence house where he belongs. Only he does not belong at their parlor window staring into our parlor window.
But what Lawrence boy?
Mr. Lawrence's grandson, of course.
I didn't know that old fuss spot had a grandson.
Well, he just came home. First, he ran away from college.
Oh, that's the bravest thing I've ever heard of.
And when they found him, there he was, wounded in an army hospital. He lied about his age and enlisted.
How perfectly splendid. I should like to do the same.
Joe, what are you doing?
Well, if he can look out of his window at us, I can look out of ours at him.
Josephine March.
No, he's still there. Gee, I'm glad he's a boy. I certainly would like to get to know a boy for a change and have a little fun.
Oh, how can you say such things?
I wonder how I could get to know him. Yoo-hoo! Hello!
Oh, Joe, you're disgracing us.
Hello?
Why, that dreadful boy. He's waving at me.
Marmee didn't come home until late that afternoon. She'd been in the village helping poor Mrs. Hummel. As soon as Beth had brought her chair to the fire, I told Marmee my big news.
News, Meg? What news, dear?
I saw Mrs. King about the position, Marmee, and she's going to take me, $4 a week.
Meg, I'm proud of you.
Oh, they have a beautiful house, Marmee, and the children are sweet. I won't mind working at all.
Was there any mail in the village, Marmee? A letter from father?
You don't think he'd forget to write us at Christmas, do you? Amy, dear, the letter's in my muff.
A letter from father.
He sent you all a little Christmas message.
Oh, do you do?
Aunt March.
Oh, Merry
Merry
Christmas,
Christmas,
Aunt March.
Aunt March.
How nice of you to come.
Yes, it was nice of me to come here. A Christmas remembrance for each of you. Meg,
Thank you, Aunt March.
Joe,
Thank you, Aunt March.
Amy,
Thank you, Aunt March.
Beth.
You, Aunt March.
Huh. When I was a girl, my aunts didn't have to come to me.
Oh, we plan to visit you tomorrow, Aunt March.
One never knows if there will be a tomorrow. Well, have you heard from that foolish father of yours, waltzing away to war and leaving others to care for his family?
We're very proud of father, Aunt March. And there's nobody looking out for us.
Joe,
Highty-tighty, hey. If your father had listened to me, young ladies, you'd be better off today. I begged him not to invest his money with that swindler. If I told him once, I told him...
Forgive me, Aunt March, but that was years ago and has nothing to do with now.
Besides, it was our money that got lost, not yours.
Don't be impertinent, miss. Oh, it's a waste of time to talk. Nobody listens to me anyhow. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas,
Aunt
Aunt
March.
March.
Aunt March.
Aunt March, I'll walk out to your sleigh with you.
And catch your death of cold while you're about it.
Aunt March, you still want me to work for you, don't you?
Fine time to ask me.
Well, I'd like to be your companion.
A companion should be companionable, young lady.
I will be, I promise. I'm willing to bury the hatchet.
Very well then. Come over after the holidays and bring an apron.
All right. Thank you, Auntie. Merry Christmas.
For all her scolding, Aunt March had given each of us a new shining silver dollar. Supper would have to wait that night as we dashed off to the village store. And later, after we wrapped the presents we were giving to ourselves, Marmee took out the letter that had come from Papa.
And give my girls my love and a kiss. Tell them I think of them by day, pray for them by night, and find my best comfort in their affection at all times. I know they will remember to be loving children to you. Will work diligently so that these hard times need not be wasted, and that when I return, I may be fonder and prouder than ever of my little women. How long this sad war will last.
Mrs. March, ma'am,
Yes, Hannah.
a message from poor Mrs. Hummel, ma'am. She wants to know how soon can you come?
Right away. Amy, get my boots, dear. My wraps, Joe. Good night, my children.
Hey, Marmee.
Night, Marmee.
Don't wait up for me. I may be late.
Good night.
Night.
Merry Christmas.
A fine Christmas Eve. Papa far away and Marmee out taking care of sick people.
And our presents, they look so lonely under the tree.
There's nothing for Marmee. Nothing. And she needs a new pair of slippers.
Well, I'm the man of the family while Papa's away, so I'll supply the slippers.
But how? Our money's all spent.
Well, I bought a book. I'll take it back.
But I thought of the slippers first, Joe.
So you did, Beth. Well then, I'll buy her army shoes, the very best to be had.
And I'll get her a nice pair of gloves, pink ones.
A little bottle of cologne for me. Both Marmee and I just love cologne.
Oh, but won't the stores be closed?
Who cares? Come on, me arties, we'll storm the citadel.
It was long past midnight when Marmee returned. We were huddled at the top of the stairs. We couldn't see her as she stopped by the Christmas tree, but we knew that she had found our presents.
But why is she crying? I can hear Marmee and she's crying.
Doesn't she like our presents?
Back to bed before she sees us.
Why is she crying, Meg?
Because she loves us, little Beth, and love and tears live very close together. Come on now.
Christopher Columbus! What a breakfast! Look, kidney pie and sausage.
Popovers and coffee.
And everything.
Merry Christmas, girls.
Merry Christmas, Hannah.
Hannah.
Hannah, you do beat the Dutch.
I can remember when I served a breakfast like this every day.
We must have been enormously rich.
Well, kindly pass the popovers, Meg.
Now wait for Marmee, Amy.
Your mom's took breakfast and gone. She said she'll meet you all in church.
Gone.
Back to the Hummels. The baby finally come early this morning.
Another baby?
One after another, 6 children, half frozen, huddled in one bed. She said your mom took her breakfast to them.
I'm not hungry either.
Oh, Beth.
I'm not hungry.
But people are starving everywhere, every day. Well, if you're going to let that worry you, you'll never eat at all.
I try not to think about it.
Those people are far away, Meg, and we don't know them. But the Hummels are near, and we do know them.
You're not thinking of giving our breakfast to the Hummels.
Yes, we are. Aren't we, Joe?
Oh, no. You couldn't think of a thing like that. No.
Poor hungry Amy. A few moments later, as we passed by the Lawrence mansion, loaded with food for the Hummels, there he was, Mr. Lawrence's grandson and another young man.
Aren't you rather loaded down, madam? May I help you?
Oh, no thank you, sir.
Josephine, must you lag so?
Just a minute. You're his grandson, aren't you? Mr. Lawrence's?
Why, yes. Yes, I am. I'm Theodore Lawrence, and this is my friend, John Brooke.
How do you do?
How do you do?
I'm Joe March, and I'd like you to meet my sisters. Only I guess they're too far up the road.
Oh, what a pity.
Oh, we know all about you, about how you ran away to join the army. Oh, and I'd done the same in your place, and how you were both in the same regiment, which is splendid, I think. Simply splendid.
Oh, we're pleased, Miss March, simply pleased.
Josephine, come on.
Well, goodbye.
Goodbye, Miss March.
Goodbye, Miss March.
Really, Joe, I must say, really.
Oh, fiddlesticks.
What will they think? Stopping to talk when we haven't even met them properly?
Well, you weren't very friendly. You didn't even say, how do you do?
I don't like the way that man stared at me.
What man? Oh, Mr. Brooke? I didn't notice.
Well, I did. And he's still looking.
Who?
Mr. Brooke, don't look back.
Oh, pooh. Bye.
That was a big morning in our lives, surrendering our breakfast to the humble children and meeting young Mr. Lawrence and Mr. Brooke. The next morning, Joe was out on the walk shoveling snow.
Hello?
Hello? Hustle yourself out here and help me.
No, I can't. I have the quinsy.
Oh, what a shame.
Oh, it isn't contagious. I can have visitors, but I don't know anyone, though.
Well, you know me.
Well, would you care to come over and keep me company?
Well, I'll speak to my mother, Mr. Lawrence. You may expect me, though.
Thank you.
Well, here I am, Mr. Lawrence, and I brought you some blancmange. It's soft and will slide down easily. Quinsy, huh? Got some flannel around your throat?
Oh, yes. Yes. You see, and thanks for the blancmange.
Well, I've come to entertain you. I'll read aloud and you can listen. I do love to read aloud.
Well, I'd rather just talk if you don't mind. Won't you sit by the fire?
Oh, thank you. I love to talk too. I always, Christopher Columbus.
What's the matter?
Well, this room. What richness. Oh, I call this splendor. That's what I call it, splendor. Mr. Theodore Lawrence, you should be the happiest creature alive.
Well, it's just a room to me, and it certainly doesn't make me happy. Some tea, Mrs. March? How many lumps?
One, please. 3. Now do tell me all about yourself. Of course, I know about your school and the army, but before that, what?
Well, I used to live in Europe with my parents before they died.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm going to Europe too, you know. You see, I figured that baths wouldn't do me any harm. That is to say, while I was there, because I've always wanted to go to Europe for my writing.
Oh,
It's so good for writers. You see, Aunt March. Oh, well, you don't know Aunt March. What were you going to say, Mr. Lawrence?
Well, it was so long ago, I've forgotten. But I'm not Mr. Lawrence. I'm Laurie.
Oh, well, Laurie, how are you getting along with your grandfather, Laurie?
Oh, fine. Fine. Once I got used to him. Isn't he a holy terror?
You should see my Aunt March.
Well, this blancmange looks too good to eat.
Oh, it isn't. Meg made it. She's the oldest.
Oh, is she? You know, John and I were wondering, he seems quite taken by your sister's beauty and, well, he was wondered if there was anybody, that is, anybody he liked.
Did he
She
ask
liked.
to find out?
No. I was just
Well,
wondering.
you may tell Mr. Brooke that we don't like anybody in our house. That is, we don't like young men who wonder about who else we like.
Oh,
And Meg is too young and too fine and far, far too clever to bother about who wonders about it. It's ridiculous.
I beg your pardon, Miss March.
Yes?
You're on fire.
What?
Your dress in the rear.
Well, how clumsy.
Here, let me help.
Well, put it out. Don't just stand there.
Oh, I'm sorry. I hope I didn't hurt you.
I think I'd better go home.
Oh, please don't go. It's dull as tombs here.
Is that why you stand at your window looking at us?
I know it's rude of me, I know. But you always seem to be having such a good time. When the lamps are lighted, it's like looking at a picture, Miss March. All of you gathered around the fire with your mother.
Well, then, Why don't you come over? Then you'd be part of the picture. And Marmy's so splendid.
Well, my grandfather mightn't approve. He'd say I was imposing. But in spite of all that,
Oh, Bilge. Oh, I know his face frightens half of Concord, but it doesn't frighten me. Of course, every time I've ever seen him, he's been barking at something. Nevertheless, I rather like him.
Well, that's something, isn't it?
Oh, Mr. Lawrence.
Thank you, madam. My face frightens half of Concord, does it?
Yes, sir. Frankly, it does. You understand, I don't think you mean to frighten them, but your face is, well, you asked me, sir, and yes, I do think so.
And I bark, do I?
I heard you bark. Yes, sir. Perhaps you don't bark all the time, but you do bark. Yes, sir.
With all that, you rather like me, do you?
Yes, I do. I really do, in spite of everything.
And I like you. Have a cup of tea.
Oh, thank you. I had one. I was just going.
No, not so fast, young lady. I have something to ask you.
Yes, sir?
Unless you've already asked her, Laurie.
No, sir. I've had difficulty saying much of anything, sir.
Yes. Young lady, on Saturday night, there will be a cotillion of sorts in this house. We shall be happy if you and your sisters attend.
A cotillion here?
Well, will you attend?
Will we? I shall go ask my mother, Mr. Lawrence. It's very grateful of you, sir. I'll go home and ask her right now. A cotillion, Christopher Columbus!
You know, Laurie, I wonder if that woman ever walks.
Christopher Columbus, sir. I wondered too.
In a few moments, we'll bring you Act 2 of Little Women. Now, women everywhere are delighted with this satin smooth bath cake. Your store is featuring Lux toilet soap now. Be sure to put both the bath and the complexion size on your shopping list. Let everyone in the family enjoy this generous, longer-lasting bath cake. See for yourself why 9 out of 10 screen stars use Lux toilet soap. And now, Act 2 of Little Women.
A party, an invitation to a party in the richest, most elegant home in Concord. No wonder we were so excited when Saturday night finally arrived. Yet, to be completely honest, only Amy and I really wanted to go.
You look just lovely, Meg. Dear.
Thank you, Marmee.
Just lovely. Now, where's Amy?
Oh, she's painting Joe's dress, Marmee.
She's what?
Joe's done it again, stood too close to the fire. Her best dress, too.
Oh, no.
Beth and I patched it for her, and now Amy's painting the patch to sort of blend it in watercolors.
Oh, that's splendid. Amy's splendid. It's right as rain now.
But it still shows, Joe. I don't know what you're going to do.
Oh, that's very simple. I shall spend the evening sitting in chairs with Beth.
Do I really have to go? Do I, Marmee? There'll be all those people.
It would hurt their feelings if you stayed at home. And besides, little Beth, you must learn not to be afraid of people.
Well, you at least look most attractive, Beth. But look at me. My shoes are too tight. I have 19 hairpins sticking in my head and a patch on my back, and I feel dreadful.
Joe, don't you have your white gloves?
All right. Ooh, how I hate to be elegant. Ugh. Well, good night, Marmee.
Good night, my dears.
Good night,
Good night, Marmee.
Now, don't eat too much, Amy, and wait until you're asked.
Marmee, you'd think I were a child. Just tell Joe not to stride about and swear. She'll disgrace us.
I shall be prim as a dish. Come on, my dears, let's be elegant or die.
glad we found this spot, Amy. Nobody can see us behind all these potted palms.
A palm in a pot is a mark of elegance. Can you see Meg?
Oh, yes. She's still dancing with Laurie's friend.
Mr. Brooke?
Mm-hmm.
You know, my dear Beth, I do believe our Meg is stricken.
I think so, too. Dancing makes anybody dizzy.
I don't mean that.
Amy, just look. Just look at that piano over there.
Oh, isn't it perfectly absolute?
Why, it is bigger than our kitchen.
Who's that? Who's that behind the palm?
Oh, don't let him see me, Amy.
Why aren't you dancing it, Miss Amy?
Mother thinks I'm too young, Mr. Lawrence. Besides, I'd rather mingle with my little sister than mingle with the crowd. She has an infirmity, Mr. Lawrence.
Oh,
She's shy.
oh, I see.
But if it weren't for that, she'd be simply fastidious. She's a real artist, you know, plays the piano beautifully.
Well, she should come over here and play sometime.
Oh, she'd never do that. She doesn't play for people, just herself.
But I wasn't going to listen to her. It's just that that piano is going to ruin for want of use. Well, if no one cares to come, never mind.
Someone cares. Very much.
Oh, I didn't realize you heard what I was saying.
I heard, sir. I'm Beth, and I'll come if no one will hear me and be disturbed.
Not a soul, my dear, not a soul. And please tell your mother that I think all her daughters are simply fastidious.
Oh, Beth, isn't he just perfectionary?
Now, this is the third dance, Joe, and I'm hanged if I'll let you refuse me again.
Please, Lori, don't ask me anymore.
Well, why not? How can a girl sit so much?
Oh, very well. See for yourself. There, I'm patched.
So you did it again, huh? Too close to the fire.
You know, life will be far less complicated for me when the warm weather comes.
I don't understand, Joe. Coming home from the party so early. Well, I'm glad you all had a nice time.
Army? You don't have any plans for us, do you?
Plans?
Well, you know, like wanting us to marry rich men or something?
Why, yes, Joe. I have a great many plans. I want you all to be beautiful, accomplished, and good. Of course, I'd like to see you marry rich men, if you love them. But I'd rather see you as the happy wives of poor men, or even respectable old maids, than queens on thrones without peace or self-respect.
Oh, I'm never going to get married. Never.
Aren't you, my Joe? Now go to bed, sweetheart. Go to bed.
One reason why Jo was so sure she'd never get married was because she wanted to be a writer far more than a wife. Jo never stopped writing. It left her very little spare time, even for Laurie.
Laurie's here, Joe. He said that Aunt March said, you didn't have to go to her house today.
Well, Beth, just send him away.
He says he's just going to wait until you come down.
Oh, I'd wish he'd realize I haven't had time for his nonsense. And what's in that package?
Slippers. I made them.
Who for?
A gentleman.
A gentleman? What's the matter with everybody in this family?
But this is an old gentleman. They're for Laurie's grandfather. He's been so kind about letting me play on that lovely piano. And in all the weeks I've been going there, I haven't even seen him.
Well, go ahead then and give him the slippers.
If your story's finished, Joe, can I read it?
No, not now. But you keep your fingers crossed and maybe someday you'll read it in print. I'm taking it to the publishers this morning. Now you run along.
Joe, but what'll I tell Laurie?
Oh, but tell him I went up in smoke.
So Jo went into town, but what she didn't know was that Laurie went into town too, and he waited for her in front of the publishing office.
That's not very good manners, Mr. Lawrence. Following me?
What about your manners? Trying to avoid me all the time. What were you doing in there?
What I was doing is a secret.
All right. Keep your secret. Only I've got one too.
All right, here.
A bank draft?
Well, read it.
Pay to Josephine March the sum of $1. For what?
Turn it over.
In full payment for story entitled The Phantom Hand.
Well,
$1?
oh, well, maybe it isn't much, but someday I'll get as much as $10.
Joe, I just don't understand you. Cooping yourself up in a garret, missing a lot of fun with me working, and for what? For one measly little dollar?
It isn't the dollar. At least that's not all of it. It's, well, it'll be read in print. And I wrote every word. And people will read it. People I've never even seen. Anyway, what's your secret?
Well, you remember the glove that Meg couldn't find?
Meg's glove? What about it?
I know where it is. In somebody's pocket. John Brooks. It's very romantic, isn't it?
No, it's horrid.
You don't like it?
Of all the sickly, sentimental rubbish, I'm disgusted. And I'm certainly glad Meg doesn't know. She'd be furious.
Oh, just you wait till someone falls in love with you, Joe. You'll feel differently then. A soft summer day with the sun setting through the trees and your lover's arms around you.
I'd like to see anyone try it.
Would you? Then what would you do?
I'd give him a good shove, just like this.
Joe, wait! What are you mad at me for?
Joe must have run all the way home. I remember how annoyed I was because she burst into the house just as Mr. Brooke was about to leave. He'd been calling on me. She all but knocked him down too.
Falling in love, that's what you are. And Amy's not much better either. Always primping and showing off. Beth's the only one I can depend on. Where is she?
She's in the parlor. Oh, we just had a big surprise.
What kind of surprise?
Mr. Lawrence sent her a present, and it took 6 men to carry it over. His piano.
Piano?
Yes, he's given it to Beth.
Me, Joe. He gave it to me. Mr. Lawrence.
But his note, darling. We haven't even opened up the note he sent. Well, read it, Beth.
I can't. Will you read it, Joe?
Miss Elizabeth March. Dear Madam.
Ooh, how elegant.
I have had many pairs of slippers in my life, but never any that suited me so well as yours. I like to pay my debts, so I know you will allow the old gentleman to send you something which once belonged to the little granddaughter he lost.
Ooh.
I remain your grateful friend and humble servant, James Lawrence.
Aren't you going to play the piano, darling?
Not now. I have to go and thank him.
Look at her, Marmee, our scared little rabbit going off all by herself.
The piano's turned her head. She'd never go. Not in her right mind.
A young lady to see you, Mr. Lawrence. Miss Beth March, the pianist.
Well, show her in. Show her in.
Good afternoon, sir.
Well, can't you come any closer?
Yes, sir.
Now, look at your chin. It's all quivering. But why?
I came to thank you, sir. I came to thank you.
So many things happened in those fast, fleeting days, and now in retrospect, I see them far more clearly than when they were actually happening. But then, I suppose, all I could think of was John Brooke. But one event struck all of us like a bolt of lightning, a telegram from the War Department.
Well, so your father's in a hospital, eh? Wounded?
Marmy's packing now, Aunt March, and she sent me to ask you for help. She needs $25 for the fare.
Oh, she does, Miss Joe. I begged your father not to go in the first place, but nobody listens to me. Not until they get into trouble.
Oh, Aunt March, what's the use of all of that now? The train leaves in 2 hours.
Always interrupting me, but you'll listen this time.
No, I won't. I only came here because Marmee says she's not too proud to beg for father. Well, I am. I'm too proud to beg for anyone. I'd rather sweep the streets than ever come to you again.
Stubborn, obstinate, rude? Josephine, come back here. Come back here.
So you had another argument with Aunt March?
Yes, Marmee.
Well, that's funny. She didn't say anything about it when she was here just now.
Aunt March was here?
Why, yes, dear. She brought me the money.
Oh, no.
And where have you been?
Lori's been looking all over for you, Joe.
I lost my temper, so I decided to get some money on my own. Here, Marmee.
But where did you get it? How?
Well, look.
Oh, Joe, your hair, your beautiful hair.
Oh, my poor Joe.
Amy, look! Joe's cut her hair off and sold it.
Well, it doesn't affect the fate of the nation, so don't start wailing.
So you've come home. I've been looking. Christopher Columbus, you look like a porcupine.
Really? I feel deliciously light and cool.
Your hair will grow back, Joe. It'll be just as lovely as ever. But you will never be more beautiful than you are now.
Marmee, your train.
I'll be glad to drive you to the station, Mrs. March.
Thank you, Lori. Goodbye, my darlings. God bless. Keep us all.
Never was our house as empty as now. Father wounded in a hospital, how badly we didn't even know. And now Marmee had left us too. And then came the worst disaster of all.
Come on in, Beth. Lunch is all ready. How are the Hummels, dear? Did you help them like Marmee said?
Don't come near me.
Beth, what is it?
The baby. The Hummel's baby. The baby's dead, Joe. The baby's dead.
Oh no.
I tried to warm her feet, but she was so cold and lay so still. I knew she was dead. And then the doctor came and he said it was scarlet fever.
Oh, Beth.
Look at her. Look at her face.
No, keep away from me. I feel funny.
I'll put her to bed. Joe, run for Dr. Barnes.
We pause now for station identification. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System. And now the curtain rises on Act 3 of Little Women, starring Shawnee Ramai as Jo, Nathaniel Tome as Laurie, Justine D'Souza as Beth, Laura Payon as Amy, and Anna Payon as Meg.
Those were the darkest days of our lives, but our prayers were answered and our little sister Beth was spared. Marmee was home by now, and then the glorious day when Papa came back to us too. Thin and worn and weak, but home again.
Well, Meg, I guess the March family is all together once again. Oh, I call that splendid. I do really. If only you didn't.
If I didn't what?
Meg, are you expecting that man to call?
Man? Well, if you mean John Brooke, Joe.
Well, I hope you don't think you're in love with him, because I can tell you that you're not.
I'm not?
No. You see, Meg, I'm a writer, and so I know. You have none of the symptoms. Your appetite's fine. You sleep like a log, and you don't mope in corners. Therefore, you're not in love. Therefore, do not go and marry that man.
I don't intend to go and marry any man.
You don't? Hooray for you. But what will you say when he comes begging for your hand?
Well, I shall say thank you, Mr. Brooke, quite calmly and decidedly. Thank you, Mr. Brooke. Let us be good friends, but nothing more.
Good. Hand him the mitten, Meg, and then maybe things around here will be the way they were when...
Oh, no.
Oh, no, what?
Joe, he's here. Look, the veranda.
Ha! You're in luck. You can tell him off right now. Oh, if I could only see his face when you do.
Poor John. I tried to send him away, I really did, but I didn't have a chance to. We weren't alone for 5 minutes before Aunt March descended on us and ordered me out into the hall.
What was he doing? Proposing to you, wasn't he?
Oh, please, Aunt March, he'll hear you.
Well, let me tell you, miss, accept that rook, crook, or brook, and not 1 penny of my money goes to you.
I shall marry whom I please, Aunt March, and I don't care anything about your money.
It is your duty, Miss Independence, to marry a rich man and help your family. You may be perfectly sure that fortune chaser knows you have a rich aunt, and that is why he wants to marry you.
How dare you say such a thing? Why, my John would no more marry for money than I would.
Do as you please, but the day you marry him, consider yourself disinherited. Oh, now you've even made me forget what I came here for in the first place.
Meg? Meg, I couldn't help but overhear.
Oh, John.
Thank you for defending me, Meg, for proving that you do care.
I didn't know how much until she said those dreadful things.
Meg. My dearest Meg.
Marmee? Marmee, do something!
Joe? Joe, what is it?
Go downstairs, quick. John Brooke is acting dreadfully, and Meg likes it.
John and I were married 3 months later. There was a reception afterwards at the Lawrence home, and I saw Joe steal away from the crowd and then Lori going after her. I was so sure then that another wedding would not be far distant.
Oh, don't feel too badly, Joe. She's still your sister, and there isn't a finer man in the world than John Brooke.
She married him after all of her promises.
Well, you still got me, Joe. I'm not good for much, I know, but I'll stand by you all the days of my life.
You don't know what a comfort you are to me, Lori.
Joe, will you listen to what I want to tell you?
No, Lori, don't say it.
I've loved you ever since I've known you. I couldn't help it. I've tried to show you, but you wouldn't let me. And now I'm going to make you give me an answer.
Well, I never wanted you to care for me so. I've tried to keep you away from it when I could.
And I only loved you more for it. Oh, I know I'm not good enough for you, Joe, but if you love me, you can make me anything you like.
Lori, I wouldn't change you. You should marry a lovely, accomplished girl who adores you. Someone who would give you the sort of life you really want. I wouldn't. We'd quarrel, Lori, and we'd...
Oh, it'd be heaven. Joe, I can't go on without you.
I'm so sorry, Lori. So desperately sorry. But I can't say I love you when I don't.
Really and truly, Joe?
Really and truly, Lori. I don't think I'll ever marry.
Yes, you will. You'll meet some good-for-nothing fool and work and live and die for him. I know you will, because it's just your way. And I'm to stand by and see it all happen. Well, I'll be hanged if I will.
Lori, where are you going?
To the devil.
Lori!
The months went by and Lori and Joe scarcely saw each other. And then, through Aunt March, Joe heard of a position in New York, a good family in need of a governess.
Oh, I've always wanted to go to New York, Marmee. Why, they have the finest libraries and theaters there. And my spare time, I can write.
Let me talk it over with Father, my darling.
I've already asked him. He says it's up to you.
It might be good for you, Joe.
Oh, it would. And I won't stay forever. A year, maybe. And when I come back, why, everything will be just the same as it used to be.
I have no little ones anymore, Joe.
You have Beth, Marmee, and Amy.
Yes, Joe. Yes, of course.
So Joe left Concord. We heard from her regularly, and always an inquiry about Lori. And after a while, always a passing mention of a tutor in the household, a foreigner named Professor Bayer.
No verdi Kennt, weiß, was ich leide, allein und. Oh, Miss March.
Oh, please don't stop, Professor Bayer. It's so wonderful.
Thank you very much.
What is that song? I've heard you play it before.
It's called Ne verdi Kennt. Do you understand German, Miss March?
No, I don't.
The words are by a famous writer, Goethe. I will try to say them for you in English. Let's see now. Only who knows what longing is can know what I suffered. Alone and parted, far from joy and gladness, my senses fail, a burning fire devours me.
Oh, if only I could write something like that. Something that would set other hearts on fire.
You truly like to write, do you not?
No, it's my life, Professor Bear.
Sometimes you will show me what you have written.
Oh, yes. And I've just sold another story. It's in the Weekly Volcano. Oh, it's a wonderful one about, well, if you'd really like to read it.
The Weekly Volcano?
It's a magazine, and it's the best story I've ever done.
How happy you look, Miss March. I'm so glad for you.
I am happy.
And you've not missed your home so much lately? Or your old friends?
No, I haven't. And you are most responsible for that.
Thank you, my little friend.
Oh, showing me this wonderful, exciting city, the museums, the theaters.
I will tell you something, Miss March. There is no greater pleasure than to hear or see something beautiful with someone who...
Excuse me, Miss March.
Yes, Paula?
Visitors, Miss, your aunt and your sister.
Yes, Amy and Aunt March were in New York, but not for long. Aunt March was taking Amy abroad to Europe.
Of course, I know I promised to take you to Europe, Joe, but then Amy and I get along famously, and I never did get along with you, now did I?
Oh, it's all right, Aunt March. Oh, and Amy, dear, I'm so happy for you. Now tell me, how's the family?
Oh, they're all fine, Joe. Except Beth. She hasn't been well since she was so sick that time.
Beth? Oh, but she must get well. She must.
And do you know that Meg is expecting? How dreadful, isn't it?
No, Auntie. It's wonderful. And, how's Lori?
Lori? Well, didn't you see him when he was here?
Here? In New York?
2 weeks ago. He and Mr. Lawrence are on their way to England.
And he didn't come to see me?
Well, can you blame him after the way you trotted off?
He didn't even try to see me.
Yes, Miss March. I have read every one, all your stories. Thank you for lending them to me.
Well, Professor Bear?
I must be honest, little friend. I was disappointed.
Oh?
Why do you write such artificial characters, such contrived plots? villains, murderers, fainting women. Do you not know that, Miss March? I've hurt you. Oh, I'm so sorry.
Well, don't pay any attention to me. It's just that everything happens at once.
Everything?
Well, my little sister is ill, and my trip to Europe will never be. And Lori,
Lori? Oh yes, your friend.
he was in New York. He didn't even try to see me.
What a fool he must be. And I chose this moment to criticize your writing.
Oh, no. I always knew my stories weren't very good, but you see, they help at home to pay the bills.
Yes, yes, that is what I thought. And I said to myself, maybe I have no right to speak to her, for she does have talent.
Have I really?
Great talent, little friend. And I say to you, sweep first the mud in the streets before you are forced to that talent. Say to yourself, I will never write a single line which I have not first felt in my own heart. Say to yourself, while I'm young, I will write these simple, beautiful things I know and understand. Will you do that, Josephine?
I'll try.
I have a rich friend. He's a publisher. When you are ready for it, I will see that he reads what you write.
Thank you. Only I'm going back to Concord. I'm going home.
Going home?
It's where I belong.
Then I will not see you again? Yes, go back to your home and write your stories, and maybe someday I will see you there in your home.
Joe was back, and the old house in Concord was briefly lighted again. But there was a great darkness impending. Oh, Beth, our little Beth.
Don't cry, Joe. I don't want you to cry for me.
I'm not crying for you, darling. I'm just lonesome for Amy and Meg and our old happy times. I'll be all right.
It's no use, Joe. I know what the doctor must have said. Please don't tell Marmee or father. But I know. Joe, you mustn't be afraid. Doesn't it sound funny, me saying that to you when you've always said it to me? You've always reminded me of a seagull, Joe, strong and wild, fond of the wind and storm, and dreaming of flying out to sea. And Marmee said I was the cricket on the hearth, content to stay at home. I can't express it very well. I guess I shouldn't even try, except to my Joe. But it seems that I was never intended to live very long. I never planned what to do when I grew up like the rest of you did, because I could never bear the thought of leaving home. But I'm not afraid anymore, Joe. I've learned that I won't lose you, that nothing can really part us, though it seems to, and there will always be a family, even though one of us is gone. But Joe, I think I will be homesick for you, even in heaven.
In April, when my baby was born, I named her Elizabeth in memory of my sister. After we had lost Beth, no one saw very much of Joe. She shut herself up in the garret writing. But then one day she came to visit me.
It's all finished, Meg, my novel. I'm on the way to the post office now.
Oh, Joe, how wonderful. Can I read it?
When it comes back.
Maybe it won't come back. Maybe they'll publish it.
I'm not sending it to a publisher. It's going to Professor Bayer.
Oh, you write to him often, don't you?
Yes, I do. And he knows what I'm writing about. I mean, he understands me, Meg.
Well, I think it's splendid. We had a letter, Joe, from Lori.
Oh?
Joe, how would you feel if you heard that Lori was learning to care for someone else?
Amy.
Yes, they're all in Paris now.
Then I wouldn't mind at all, Meg. How could I?
Well, it's just that you seem so alone, Joe. I thought that if Lori came back again.
No. Amy and Lori. I'm truly glad, Meg. Truly glad.
In June, Amy and Lori were back in Concord as husband and wife.
Joe? Joe, you busy? May I come in?
Lori. Oh, Lori, when did you get back? Where's Amy?
Downstairs with the family. We and a thunderstorm just arrived.
Oh, I can't wait to see her.
Joe. Joe, dear, I want to say one thing. Then we'll put it by forever.
You don't need to say it, Lori. It was always meant to be this way.
You tried so hard to make me understand.
But you were so impatient and stubborn.
Well, now that everything came about the way you wanted it, it'll be like old times again.
No, Lori. The old days can never come back. But we can still love each other and help each other all the rest of our lives.
Dear Joe, for the rest of our lives.
Now let's go down. I want to kiss the bride.
It was a wonderfully happy reunion that day. Even Aunt March was reasonably cheerful. Only if Beth. During the party, Lori heard someone at the front door.
I beg your pardon. Is Miss March in? Miss Josephine March?
Why, yes. Won't you come in?
Oh, but there are guests.
Well, yes, but...
I will go. If you will just give us this, please.
Well, yes. Yes, of course.
Thank you.
This is for you, Joe.
Why, thank you, Lori.
No, it isn't from me. Some man just came
Well,
and
open
dropped
it up, Joe. Don't just look at it.
Why, it's a book.
Yes, yes, Marmee.
Hi, Beth by Josephine March. Joe, it's your book. It's been published.
Well, why didn't you tell us?
Published a book.
Who left it, Lori?
Well, a man with a sort of an accent.
Well, where is he?
Well, he wouldn't come in. He went away.
Oh no, he couldn't have. He couldn't have.
Joe, come back. It's pouring outside.
Professor Bear?
Miss March? Josephine?
Where are you going?
Back to the railroad station. I came to bring you your book. My friend published it, you see. He has great hopes. He thinks...
Oh, never mind what he thinks. Did you like it?
It has such truth, such simple beauty. But I cannot tell you what is deep in my heart.
And you were going away. I might have never seen you again. Oh, please come back.
I couldn't intrude. You have guests.
Oh, no, it's just my family. My sister's come home, Amy. She's married to the man I told you about.
Lori?
Yes.
Oh.
And it's the first time we've all been together in such a long time. You will come back?
Oh, please. Please, Joe. Just one moment before.
Yes?
I have a wish to ask something. Would you... I have not the courage to think that, but if I could hope that... I know I shouldn't have asked. I have nothing to give you but my heart, which is full, and these hands, which are empty.
Then take my hands in yours.
Joe, my darling.
Let me keep them there forever.
We reluctantly draw the curtain and bring our little women forward for a bow. Lever Brothers Company, the makers of Lux Toilet Soap, join me in inviting you to be with us again next Wednesday evening. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
We did it.
Thank you to all our actors and our wonderful audience.
That was absolutely wonderful.
Thank you, Gloria.
Thank you.
Fabulous job.
Thank you.
Looking forward to doing more with you.
Thank you so much for asking us to do it. We had such fun. And thank you.
Well, we'll be doing it again.
Oh, good.
Thank you for bringing a little bit of joy to my evening.
Oh, you're welcome.
Thank you.
All right. Any questions for the actors before we go. We have some very nice comments. And we have recorded this, and we will get it to Edison Art Society so you can put it on your Facebook page if you'd like.
Thank you. That's perfect.
Good, so that anyone who missed it can watch it then.
Great.
Oh, we have people from Colorado and Rio.
Oh, wow.
Rio. Oh,
Rio.
we go to Rio.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for watching, everybody.
All right. Word gets around.
Thank you to the Edison Art Society for having us. We do these, Dragonfly does free Zoom shows, usually every Wednesday, this week Tuesday. And they're always on our Facebook page and our other social media. So please follow Dragonfly Multicultural Arts Center. Also, if you are local to the New York, New Jersey area, we'll be doing outdoor shows this summer with Ducre School of Art in Plainfield.
Next Wednesday the 10th, we're going to be doing Tennessee Women for the Vote. Some of the cast members who were in this show will be in that, and that's recreations of actual speeches that were given in support of women's suffrage, and actually some against, in 1920. So that is 8 o'clock on March 10th. And then on March 17th, we're doing a special St. Patrick's Day Irish show. So please mark your calendars and join us for those, because we'd love to have you back with us then.
Sounds like fun.
Can we have a website so that we know how to get to your Facebook?
Sure.
Yep.
I will put it in the chat. Okay.
Yes, it'll be in the chat, and our website is dragonflyartsnj.com. We're also under Dragonfly Multicultural Arts Center on Facebook. You could just search that, or I'll also put the Facebook
There.
URL in the chat.
I got it.
Oh, great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good.
Thank you, Gloria, for inviting me.
Oh, I'm so glad you were able to take advantage.
Yeah, no, it was very good. Very good.
And I
Great
will
group.
put our email account in the chat as well. So if you want to get on our mailing list, please email me and I'll put you on. Also, if you're interested in doing any shows with us, email me and we'll put you on the list. And if you get on our mailing list, you'll hear about all future shows and auditions, and hopefully workshops as well.
And also, if you're a playwright, we're always looking for plays as well.
Yes, especially from New Jersey playwrights.
Great.
And even Colorado and Rio playwrights would be good too, so.
Well, thank you for, oh, sorry, you go ahead.
Yeah, you go on tour?
We do tour around New Jersey on occasion, and I certainly wouldn't be opposed to going further.
Yes, yes, we have one-day shows that sometimes we tour. We've gone as far away as Suffern, New York.
Oh, a big distance. Okay.
Yeah.
For us, it was, yes, with all of the set pieces.
But I thank you for all your kind words. I know I always say it's really brought me joy to do this during the days of quarantine, and I'm glad if we could bring you joy too. And we're so grateful for all of our actors who give us their talent week after week.
We're so lucky to have all the actors who are here today. Very nice core group that we can always count on to give fabulous performances. So thank you very much. And Nick is, I think this is Nick's third or fourth performance with us, but when we did this show before, Nick had to fill in at the last minute. So we're very lucky to have him.
I love Dragonfly.
Thank you. Lovely performance. Lovely performance.
Thank you very much. Hopefully we'll see you again at future performances.
Catherine, I hope I'm on your list.
I think so, but I will double check.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you again.
Yeah,
Thank
this was wonderful.
Thank you.
very much.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye,
Thank you,
everybody.
everyone.
Bye-bye. Good night.
Good
night.
Have a good night, everyone.
Have a
Thank
lovely
you and good
night,
night.
everybody.
You were great, Shawnee.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much.
Very nice voice.
Oh, thank you.
Have a good night.
Good night.
Bye.
Actors, amazing jobs. Have a good night.
Yes, all of you.
You
Great.
too. Good night now.
Wonderful.